Hello and welcome everyone to this wonderful YouTube interview with this incredible business owner, Rachel, who I have been working with for a little while now. And I think she's absolutely awesome at what she does. She is a Sen parent. She is able to help you find those little moments of calm that we don't give ourselves enough of. So I am not going to waffle on about who Rachel is. I'm going to let her explain to you a little bit about who she is and how she got to doing what she's doing. So Rachel, welcome. It's lovely to have you here and to be able to have a chat with you.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's fab to be here.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about why you started your business, what was your why, what inspired you to really get there?
So, my business solved a problem for me, and that was where it stemmed from. So, I am a son parent, as you said. My son is 6 years old and he has autism. And it was around the time he was getting diagnosed, around 3 years ago, that I really, really struggled to find some sort of self-care that I could do with limited financial needs, as well as not needing any extra childcare. And everything that I saw online, it was, expensive spa days, holidays, things that took a lot of time and cost a lot of money. And I didn't have either of those things. I knew there must be a simpler way of doing this. So I spent a lot of time looking at lots of different things that aren't really talked about as much. Self-care is talked about a lot, but it's generally the more expensive forms of self-care. Whereas I was looking at, small, sustainable self-care. And what I found is that it's not about the length of time that you take to do that activity. It's the act of doing it that makes a bigger impact and scheduling it in. So even, something that takes 5 minutes can have more of an impact than a spa day. Because it's just about what you are doing and taking that time to look after yourself and make yourself a priority that's more important. So I developed these strategies, I was using them myself, and I thought, how amazing would it be to help other Sen parents, because there will be other Sen parents who are feeling like me, find a different way, find a different form of self-care that they can slot in. And that was really how it started. And then it's just grown from there. And I've been doing Rachel's 3 Rs for 2.5 years now. Um, but yeah, I just absolutely love it. And I think the whole simplicity behind it um, is what it's all about. I'm also a single mom, so I'm busy. I've got lots of things going on. I don't have hours of time, but I can still put myself first and take time out for myself every day.
I really love that. I think you've really kind of touched and hit the nail on the head with why you do what you do, because I mean, I'm not a Sen parent myself, so I can't imagine what your everyday looks like and how you manage to get through your everyday. But like you're saying, a lot of what's on offer out there is unrealistic in terms of cost, in terms of time, and actually generally from what I hear from people that have been Sen parents, they don't have the help that they need to be able to support a normal family life. And actually self-care in a way feels quite selfish sometimes, because you're taking time for yourself, particularly if you're blocking out an entire day to do it. It doesn't feel like it's justifiable. So how you've actually broken that down into small chunks where you can take that 5 minutes, it's much more manageable. And I think that's brilliant. Do you think that, and this is probably from some of your experience, but from some of the people you work with, do you find that people feel like guilty for taking that time out for themselves?
Yes, and I hate the phrase self-care isn't selfish. I hate the whole mum guilt kind of phrase that it's become. Um, because I just think then you're putting that negative connotation to self-care, even if you're doing it in a positive way. Just using the words self-care and selfish in the same phrase makes you think that you should be feeling like that. Whereas actually you are investing in yourself. You are looking, we all know that phrase that, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to put fuel in the car to make it go. But when it comes down to it, most people will say, oh, I can't do that because I've got to do this and I've got to do that. But what they don't realize is that if they don't take that 5 minutes for themselves, then they are going to hit burnout, or at the very least, they are going to become poorly. They are not going to be able to look after the other people. And then what happens? Who is going to look after those other people if you can't do it? So that is why, and I have hit burnout before, and it is not a nice place to be. It's not something that I would wish on anybody. So if just taking 5 minutes out of your day every day means that you don't hit that, and it also means that I am being the best version of myself. I am showing up in the best way. So I have more patience with my son. I can do more things with him. I'm not just surviving each and every day. I am, enjoying it. And I'm not saying that, I enjoy every single moment with him, because I'm human and we don't. But I am able to manage other situations a lot better because I have that time, even if it is 5 minutes. I think quite often we're caught up in this narrative that self-care has to be all these grand gestures, and then you have to feel guilty for it, and it's you have all these memes flying around. And I just did a reel on it, I think, this morning, and I actually think it's quite damaging. Even though it's all a bit tongue-in-cheek and people joke about it, I do think it is quite damaging because we're absorbing all of this even if you don't believe it.
Yeah. I think you've that reframe of, and I agree, like the word of self-care and selfish can be used in such the wrong way and be seen as the wrong thing. And I agree, I think what you said there, but the reframe you've had of that is self-care isn't about being like taking that time for you. It's about making sure you can support people in the other way the best as you possibly can. And I think people don't see it like that. And you're right, there is so much messaging that subconsciously goes in that people aren't realizing. So when they do stop for, even if it is just 5 minutes, which you kind of think, well, how is 5 minutes going to help? Like you've said, you can see that it consistently, it makes a bigger difference than one spa day. That's okay. And it's not being kind of told by things that are online of what's best for you and your family a lot of the time, I think, as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think, the whole reason why the bigger forms of self-care get promoted more is because there's more money to make from them. If you get right down to it, if somebody buys a journal and does 5 minutes of journaling every day, that journal's gonna last them quite a long time. So they're not going to get a lot of, repeat custom from that customer. And unfortunately, in the world that we are in a capitalist society, that is, what it comes down to. It comes down to money. But I think in all of that, we've lost the whole reason behind self-care, Um, so I think taking it back to its most simplest form is so powerful and also really empowering to know that you could just take some time out right now, and you don't need all of these other things. You just need yourself. You could do a 5 minute breathing exercise. Um, and just knowing that you have got that at your disposal at any point, I find really, really empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. What would your advice be to someone who's stuck in that cycle of knowing they need to take time for themselves but can't break away to do it? They're kind of in that treadmill of thinking, like like you're saying, they're saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, in that kind of space where that everybody else in their life is a priority but them. What would your advice be to helping them break that cycle?
So, an exercise that I like to do with people, if somebody tells me that they don't have any time, they don't even have 5 minutes, is to sit down with a piece of paper and look at what you do every day. So you're tracking your 24-hour day. So obviously block out when you're asleep, block out when you're at work or when you're commuting. And what you'll probably find is that you have got pockets of time in your day. Now, it might be while you are waiting for the kettle to boil, it might be while you're waiting for the oven to warm up, it even might be while you're sat in the car on the school run. And once you can see that in front of you, it's almost like you found more time because you hadn't realized that you had got those pockets of time. So if you are struggling to, fit it all in, I would do this exercise and I would look and see where you have got little pockets of time and how you can use them differently. Because you might be, using that time just to scroll on your phone, or do other things, which is fine. And there's no shame in doing that. We all do that. But are those activities making you feel calmer and more relaxed? Are they helping you to escape? Possibly not. So by just taking one of those pockets of time and doing something more intentional with it, doing something a little bit different, that can help you so much. So I'm a big fan of getting to the school run 5-10 minutes before. I pick my son up and then I have that time. Nobody else needs me. I can put my phone on silent. Um, and I've just got some time to breathe, especially if your child might come out of school quite dysregulated, and you are just centering yourself, as it were, so that if your child is dysregulated, if there's lots of other stuff going on, you are in a much better place mentally to be able to cope with that and get them to a safe place, get them home, and deal with whatever you need to deal with.
Oh, I love that. What a great tip. 10 minutes before the school run. I love it. And actually, what you're just saying is really, I think, important because other people's emotions, whether that's our child or families, the person who's cut us up while we're driving to like pick up our kids, those kind of things, those emotions rub off on us, right? So we could kind of take on the stress of other people so much, and actually giving ourselves the time to like focus on kind of calming yourself and, like you say, re-regulating yourself, getting that moment to kind of recenter. Tell me a little bit about the subscription boxes, because I love this. I think this is, I mean, I love getting bulky mail for a start anyway, but tell me a little bit about the subscription box and how they came about.
So the subscription boxes basically came off the back of me reframing my self-care, finding different ways to look after myself. So Rachel's 3Rs stands for relaxation, respite, and remedy. And the idea is that you get a box, a monthly theme box. So every month, and you have got tools and strategies to use to help you to escape and unwind and feel calmer and more relaxed. So as well as the amazing products in the boxes, you also get access to a membership area. Now, this was this was possibly more important to me than the products inside, because I did not want this to be a box that sits on the shelf, looks beautiful, but sits on the shelf and gathers dust. I want you to open your box and be excited to get into it. So what can I do to help you to do that, basically? So I collaborate with 3 other small businesses every single month, and they all provide an online session. So you get a guided meditation with my lovely friend Kath. You get a musical masterclass, which is quite often like a vocal warm-up or just something similar. And then you also get a reading for your mental health masterclass and a mindful and pamper session with me. Now, these are all online. They are all delivered via the private Facebook group and also now my YouTube channel. So you can watch them back whenever. And they are there just basically to help you to get the most out of your box. So that has always been really, really important to me, even though it's not in the subscription world, if you like. It's not something that is usually included. That was almost one of the reasons why I did want to include it. Because I do think with subscription boxes, there is another way of doing them. And a lot of them, you get them, they look amazing, but you don't know how to use them. They look too pretty. You don't want to open the packaging. And I really, really did not want that. And that's not something that I would want for myself either. So that is why I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort into creating like an online community of other SEN parents who are struggling, who can support each other, as well as attend the sessions and slot that in when, you know, obviously the sessions each month, they do have a time on them and a date, but they're all saved. So you've got a whole library. So even if you join a subscription today, for example, you have still got 2.5 years worth of masterclasses and guided meditations that you can just slot in whenever you fancy or whenever you just need some time. So yeah, so that is how it came about. So in the box, the products in the boxes. So the exact contents are kept a surprise until my subscribers have received them, but you do know the theme, usually around the beginning of the month. And each box contains a full-size Temple Spa product because I'm also a Temple Spa sales consultant, and that was how my entrepreneur journey started. You get an Usborne mindfulness-related activity, which is sometimes a book, it's sometimes not. We've done magic painting, journals, we've done all sorts of different things. You get a full-size Scentsy wax bar. And then obviously you've got the masterclasses, you've got the guided meditations, you've got the extra support around it as well.
Oh, it's such, like you say, actually, the box is lovely to sort of have and to get, and that excitement. I love it. I love it. I love beautiful boxes of things that surprise me every month. I think that's a wonderful idea. But actually, just being able to access all of those amazing resources and have a safe space community of people that are like you, that can really understand what you're going through and the challenges your everyday life brings, and be okay to feel the way you're feeling, right? Because I think we often feel like we can't express our own emotions because of the people around us, and we need to keep ourselves together. I bet you probably see that quite a lot, and you probably see it in your own life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much pressure on us, whether you are a mom, an SEN mom, or don't have any children. There is so much pressure to be doing something all of the time. And, you know, at a time where everything is at our fingertips, we're consuming so much, and it is so easy to do so. You know, your phone's pinging all the time. You've got all the news going on. And, you know, yes, this has always happened, but we haven't had it so readily accessible. So I think now it's even more important to actually say, actually, I'm going to turn off the notifications on that. Actually, I am going to be more intentional with my time, because it is harder. It is hard to say, actually, I do want to know what's going on in the world, but I don't want to know every single update throughout the day. Um, you know, and that's a very intentional decision that you have to make. You know, I do it with my Facebook, so I've turned off the notifications. So I have to go into the app to see. And obviously I do that when I don't use that as part of my self-care time. That's, when I'm intentionally going on Facebook to have a scroll or to check comments or whatever. Um, and then that does reduce the amount of time that I am on my phone.
Yeah. I love that. That's really great tip actually around turning off the notifications, and even like news alerts. Like daily news can be so triggering for so
Mm.
much. You don't really realize the negative messaging that goes in. I literally don't listen to the news at all. And bizarrely, I managed to get through life knowing the things I need to know. And we feel like the fear of missing out is the thing that I really don't like, the fear of missing out. Like it's something that really grates on me. But like you say, you don't have to respond to everything straight away, right? You can get back when it's right for you and you're in the right frame of mind. And actually, if you're looking at something when you're walking to like the school run or going to do the shopping and you then miss a message and forget to reply, that's an extra stress and an extra pressure. And if you do it intentionally and put that time in, it would probably be quicker and easier and take up less brain space, I imagine.
Absolutely. I don't watch the news, I don't listen to the news, but like you, I know that if there's something I need to know, I will find out because usually somebody else will tell you or somebody else will put a Facebook post up. Um, so I think it's almost like it's the over consumption. And whilst technology is incredible and it's incredible that we've got all of these things, it's also important to ask, is this serving me? Is this helping me? Um, so
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you're saying, it's kind of like the small things that can really make a big difference. What was the real turning point for you where you realized that you needed to change your approach to how you saw time for yourself?
it was when I I was kind of stuck in a rut of, thinking, oh well, if I had some more money, I could do this. If I had some more time, I could do that. And I think it was guided meditation that I listened to first. So I literally just put into YouTube free 5-minute guided meditation. And I listened to it and I could not believe that it had only been 5 minutes. I felt like I'd been lying there for an hour. And I thought, how has that happened? Because 5 minutes is such a short space of time. Again, we're conditioned to think that everything should take a long time. And to do something properly, you need to invest a lot of time in it. And I just couldn't get my head around the fact that that was only 5 minutes. So I did it again the next day and again the next day. And I kept feeling the same. I felt like I'd been asleep for an hour. And this was something that was free, that had only taken me a very, very short amount of time. And I would do it first thing in the morning before I got my son up for the day. And I really noticed how much calmer I was reflected on him. So he was calmer. And if he was feeling really dysregulated, I was more able to deal with it. I didn't feel as stressed. I didn't feel as worried. And after about a week, I just thought, this is incredible. Why isn't this spoken about more? And then obviously you delve into it and you realize why. Um, but yeah, just because it's everybody can say all these things and just do this for a few minutes. But I think once you actually do it and you realize that actually how you felt afterwards, that is the feeling that will keep you doing it. So whenever somebody is coming to me and they're really struggling, and I say, take this time out for yourself, but before you do it, write down how you're feeling, and it just needs to be a few words. Afterwards, write down how you feel then, because that is what is pushing you forward to do it more. It's not about what you're doing, it's about how it makes you feel. And that could be a meditation, it could be a walk, it could be, 5 minutes of journaling. And again, you don't need a fancy journal, you don't need a fancy pen. I'm a big fan of the back of an envelope and a biro that you've got in the bottom of your bag, because it's not about those tools, but somehow the messaging has got lost and we think that you have to have those things. Well, you know, quite often especially if I'm on the school run, I'll just use the note section of my phone and just write a few things down. Um, you know, focus on those small things, because that is what really, really changed the game for me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And actually, back of an envelope, like that's my kind of style. Something you could just like quickly grab and scribble, like, and or just it's almost like having that time to get stuff out of your head and just give your time. And I love that transformation. I think that's so powerful and such a great tip. And actually, if anyone's listening to this now, write down how you're feeling right now. I think that's a really great bit of advice. How are you actually feeling? What is it that's going on for you right now? And where would you like to be? What would you really want from you know? And Rachel here has got some amazing resources that are affordable, that are manageable, that aren't going to take up loads of time, that aren't going to cost the earth to do, and are going to consistently work every single day, which is so much more valuable. It's lovely. I'm not denying that spa days are great, but actually having the time to do that consistently every single day will probably be so much more beneficial longer term, having those habits built into your everyday, and how importantly valuable they are, whether you're a SEN parent or not as well. So I think that's really great advice. Rachel, where can people find you to find out more about how they can work with you, how they can connect with you, and what things they can do to really make their lives easier and calmer?
So I share a lot on my Instagram, which is at Rachel's 3R's subscription box. So I share a lot more kind of tips and things that we've been touching on today, and a lot more kind of behind the scenes, what I get up to. I also share a lot in my Facebook group. So that is where you will find things first before they get sent out anywhere else. So that is Escape and Unwind with Rachel's 3R's, a unique subscription box collaboration. And then I'm on Facebook as well at Rachel Slyfield. And yeah, I share more of my own personal journey and things that I've got coming up. But for like first look, for box reveals, for box themes, for anything exciting that I've got happening, it is my Facebook group that gets it first.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Any final tips that you can give for people that are struggling to find the time for themselves?
Just keep it really, really simple. So I like how you said, just get a piece of paper and just write down how you're feeling. Now, you don't have to go into loads of detail. You could write 2 or 3 words, and then you could come back to it the next day and say how you're feeling now. One exercise that I really like to do if I'm feeling overwhelmed is to just write down 5 things that you're grateful for in this moment. And again, they don't have to be grand gestures, they don't have to be flashy. Could be I'm grateful to have a safe house to live in. I'm grateful for my warm cup of tea, because that can really, really help to change your mood, just reframe um, your whole perspective, which is often what we need when we are feeling overwhelmed and we've got all of these things in our heads and we just need to get it out. Thinking of good things that are going on for us can really, really help with that. Um, so yeah, that is something that I do myself as well to help me. And I know that it helps a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, amazing. And on that note, I am going to share my top 3 things today that I am grateful for. So today I am grateful for this conversation, and I always love talking to you, Rachel. You're such an inspiration to so many people. So if you're not following her, do go following her. I am very grateful to have a window in front of me with lots of beautiful trees where I can watch the wonderful world of nature going on. And I'm also very grateful for my new radiator in my office along with my heated blanket because it is a little bit on the nippy side. So these are the things that I'm very grateful for. Rachel, it has been a pleasure speaking to you. If you're not already following Rachel, please do go check out this subscription service because it's amazing. It is ace and it will help keep you accountable to taking a bit of time for yourself, because sometimes we all need someone to tell us to take care of ourselves, and go and find Rachel because she will help you do that. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'd really love to know in the comments what your biggest takeaway has been. Thank you, Rachel. Always lovely to chat with you.
Thank you so much.